Okay, so I did some poking around, and I think that they originally said that if I wanted to find the bird cage, I needed to go inside the siege tower? Or at least the siege tower is one of the looming questions. Like, how do you get inside the siege tower? I think that Xander might have said that it was inside there, or I've been told to go there for another reason. So that's at least a goal I can try to poke at. But it likely just involves asking around a lot more. This guy just likes me, but it's not otherwise helpful.
All right.
Sebastian. I don't want to become a mage, and that's all he's apparently capable of doing. This guy tells you about Ebb Creek knees. Horror. I don't need to train in new weapons. I'm already triple trained on this weapon. I'm basically looking for anyone that can tell me about the siege weapon. Lenny's the closest to it. He just teaches you to be a thief. The more training options are around, but that's it. These barrels are probably here to catch rainwater. The only thing that fills them is dust.
Come on, we got a special on slaves. Use them for whatever you will. They're right over here. Step right up. Come on, we got a special on slaves. Use them for whatever you will. They're right over here. Step right up.
That door just is purple. The dragons won't talk to me. Hello.
Get your slave over here. Go for the friends of blood.
I'm leaning towards the sensates potentially, simply because the forge is not appealing on any real level. Even though the contrarian in me is like, oh, the sensates are the most popular ones. Well, I don't want to talk to them then. There's gotta be someone who will talk about the damn siege tower. This guy just wants to show me his wares. Who's got the excess of garbage? You do. Wow, most of this inventory is not even worth money. It's not to him, I guess.
I like that. Yeah.
Get rid of them rusty daggers. Okay, so this stuff mostly doesn't even count as a weapon. I should just drop it on the ground. The crutch is nostalgic or whatever for her. Okay, I don't need this many pry bars. Oops. You have to sell it from that inventory before you change tabs. That said, I maybe need to keep the pry bar in the correct inventory. And maybe the hammer too. I just registered the fact that I potentially need to I potentially need to keep this in the inventory of the person that might need to use them. And not somebody else's. Can this garbage be, like, redeemed somewhere? Here, you can hold the trash from that one place. So I genuinely am unsure whether or not that is, like, real loot that will come up at some point within the specifics of that area. Or if it's trash that they just spam you with that you should just throw away. The Club of Piercing. It's a club covered in spikes. Crushing damage, piercing damage, enchanted, Thaco +3. Just lots of bonuses. Very expensive. Incredibly expensive. I think, wasn't this guy mad about me asking questions before, but like
I'm listening.
also asks, but also just answers my questions? Tell me about Sigil. Lady of Pain. Oh, I accidentally did something new. I thought this was old dialogue. I was trying to find something about the siege thing. What can you tell me about the city of Sigil? The center of the plains. The city where almost everything intersects. Never born, really. The Lady of Pain is the law, and the rest of us mostly try and bang out a living under her shadow. He barks a laugh, then coughs. What can you tell me about the Lady of Pain? I feel like they're setting up the Lady of Pain to be, like, the final boss, or some kind of arbiter at the end of the game, narratively. Like, it has to come up at some point, or be tied to my character's history, or in some way go somewhere, it feels like, because of how often it comes up. Don't know much about her. She keeps the powers out of Sigil, keeps the fiends out, talks and deals with nobody, except for the Dabus. She'll pen you in the dead book damned quick if you worship her or try to hurt Sigil. Her face and the blade surrounding it will be the last you'd see. You get put in the dead book for worshipping her. Interesting. At the mention of a face surrounded by blades, a memory forces itself into your consciousness. For a moment, you are standing in a darkened alley, breathing heavily. Approaching you in the darkness is an uncannily beautiful woman. Her face shrouded in blades and with cold eyes. Suddenly the memory fades. You're talking to the lad once more. Anything worth seeing around here? This should all be old. What does one do around here? God, it's so dense here. Alright, everybody go away, except the Nameless One. Having 4 more party members around me makes it so much harder to read all the names. They're mostly repeating dudes, but there's definitely some uniques mixed in that usually have the dialogue. Oh, she just talks about buying stuff now. Cinder. What is this place? He proudly gestures around him. It's the open-air market, one of the best shops that be in Sigil. Fortune smiles on ye to have entered it, Cutter. And we have an empty stall. He points to the one next to his. If you be a merchant yourself, you can set up your kip and barter with the rest of us, as long as it isn't too loud or too much of a bother. Why is that stall empty? He glances at the empty stall. Merchant by the name of Zach used to have his kip there. Got himself a page in the dead book recently. He frowns. Strange story, that. Strange in what way? He thinks a moment. Well, I don't know the dark of it all, but Zach had a bit of business trouble and needed some coin. He got himself a loan from Byron Pickett, the moneylender. After that, Pickett started trying to take the business from him, but Zach refused. He pauses. He sighs and shakes his head. Not long after that, Zach was a debtor. Pickett took his widow, Trist, to court to get to the jink Zach owed. She claimed the debt was paid and said she had the papers to prove it. They turned up missing. So what happened? He shrugs. With no proof of the debt being paid, the business was sold and the widow Trist held accountable for the remaining debt. She couldn't pay it, so it's the block for her. The block? Aye, the auction block. If you can't pay your debt, you get sold to the service for a few years as punishment. He shakes his head sadly. So we already knew about all this, but I don't think he talked about it before. So I missed this tree. What's funny is the block being for... I mean, it's very bad to be sold as a slave, but hearing that you get the block sounds like you get executed, so it's a bit of a de-escalation from that when you find out what it actually means. He said something about missing papers. Trist be saying that her husband, Zach, paid the loan in full, that she had the papers to prove it. When she went to get them, they was gone. He snorts and looks angry. I'd be laying jink down that Pickett's behind it. And they were looking into this, the Harmonium, yeah. Corvus, one of the Harmonium guards to the market, is really interested in finding what happened to Zach. Yeah, this is all resolved. Got new dialogue and even an updated journal over a quest that I already finished, but... Who knows the secret of this goddamn siege tower?
All right.
May I ask Darren about other things? Tell me about the siege tower. A true mystery, even to me. It simply appeared one day. None can gain entry and none has ever left it. The open air market? It just exists.
All right.
Oh dear, have you come to threaten me again? He seems supremely unconcerned. How did you teleport me? Trade secrets? Did you actually want something, or were you coming in to bluster some more? What do you... do they have to do with work? What do you print? Books, pamphlets, handbills, words, letters, whatever. He amends. Though I don't do racy prints, and I won't fulfill any perversions you might want, nor do I care to ask. Messenger, come back. No, trap him. Force him to talk to me. The lad looks like he's in a hurry. He looks at you resentfully as you detain him. He's obviously in a hurry to leave. What can you tell me about this area? He pauses for a moment, but it's obvious he's not paying attention to the words. Don't know, he says, and leaves. Gave it a shot.
I'm gone.
Might be a dead end that I just cannot find any information about. There's a lot of these. There's like just a fair number of like entire lines of reasoning that are... There's loose ends where I don't... It's hard to tell what is possible to do now and what requires some kind of progression. And I'm in a tough situation where the things that might require progression are unclear, but also which things I can pursue to get progression to then find the other things is also unclear. It's just like I don't know what to do. I extremely don't know what to do right now. Just like none of these people want to talk to me. I think just nothing comes here.
All right.
The coffin maker likes to talk a lot. And the wrecked house is like an ancient evil man. Maybe one of those guys can give me a point of interest here. Good day, Cutter. Did you get the plans you were looking for? Yes, I've dealt with the situation at the warehouse and got the tomb plans.
My journal.
He smiles and nods. Well done, Cutter. As I said, you may keep whatever you recovered from the warehouse as your reward. Thank you for your help. I have some questions. Ask away. Can you tell me about this ward? Yes, the lower ward. He leans forward, as if explaining something to a small child. You know, it's little known to most newcomers, and even people in the ward. Most people think that this ward gets its name simply because it's not as prestigious as some of the other wards, but that's not it at all. Not at all. Do you know where the name comes from? No, I don't know where it gets its name. It's because of the portals to the lower planes. They're the reason behind all the smog that fills the area, belching out noxious gases and all. Fortunately, winds from the spire help to blow away the worst of the mists, but it can bring others in the ward with much weaker constitutions down and fill them full of sickness. He shakes his head sadly. Fortunately, my Harmonium training has prepared me for all sorts of hazardous conditions, and after my travels to the lower planes, the smog of this ward is little to bear indeed. What is there to see in the ward? He smiles broadly. A great deal, a great deal. Where to start? If we were to step past all the kilns, forges, breweries, and distilleries scattered amongst the many garbage fires, not to mention the alchemist's den, the crematoriums, meat curing houses, and the charcoal burners, and examine the ward itself as a whole, one could say, well, there's the foundry, the siege tower, and... He begins to falter and stops to think. Tell me about the siege tower. That scarred iron wreck? A ward mystery it is, but I have some thoughts on it. First off, it wasn't always here, as I understand it. It simply arrived one night, and no one saw how it got there. Now you've seen the outside of it. It's seen battle. It looks like battles that most people could not imagine. Me, however, I've seen the edges of the blood war, even tackled a Tenari fiend or two when things were desperate, with only my Harmonium fellows beside me. And those scars on the tower look like they were gathered over several centuries at least. He pauses for a moment. Now listen close. My experience allows me to recognize some of those scars that decorate the sides of the tower. Some are acidic blasts, surely enough from some major sorceries. Some are Tenaric's teething blades. Others look like detonations from Loth globes or scars from Batezu Cornugon whips. However, I lost the weapons embedded in the sides of the A lot of the weapons embedded in the sides are weapons like nothing I've ever seen. And I'm well versed in a variety of weapons on many different worlds and on many different planes. Makes you wonder what's held on the inside of the tower. Basher who cracks that tower might have a museum on their hands. Makes you curious, doesn't it? He stares at you. How do I get in? Tell me about the foundry. The Great Foundry is the headquarters for the believers of the Source, also known as the laymen, to some of the laymen as godsmen, because of their belief that everyone can achieve divinity. He shakes his head. The Great Foundry is much like their philosophy, a large, sprawling structure that seems to produce nothing but smoke. He laughs. I mean, when was the last time you saw one of the believers of the Source suddenly become a power? Not any time in the faction's history. Tell me about the Godsman. Actually, friend, Godsman is the layman's term for the faction. The real name of their organization is, in actuality, the Believers of the Source. They hold to an interesting, if ultimately flawed, philosophy. They believe that everyone has the capability of aspiring to divine status simply by applying themselves. He shakes his head indulgently, as if to pause to think. As my tour of duty with the Harmonium quickly proved, there are many who could never aspire to divinity, no matter how long they sought it or applied themselves, he scoffs. Nonetheless, the Believers of the Source work quite hard, he shrugs, and their little faction is pleasant enough. What can you tell me about the other factions? Why, certainly, friend. I can tell you a little about the Harmonium, the Mercy Killers, or the Governors. Oh god, these are also, oh wow. Not the Gray Men, or whatever they're called, or the Sensates. There's 3 more. Can I join those ones? The Governors? He nods knowingly. The Fraternity of Order is their proper faction name. They are dedicated to law and knowledge. They spend most of their time simply researching every aspect of law. Now, I am not talking just man-made laws. No, their search goes much deeper. They want to know the how and why behind everything. Because of their devotion to the law, they also run the courts of Sigil and act as lawyers, judges, advocates, and such. I ain't lawful, though. The Harmonium. He stowns proudly. The primary faction of Sigil is, of course, the Harmonium. We are the faction dedicated to preserving law and order in Sigil, unlike that other Law and Order one. And there is no other more important function. Progress can only be achieved in a state of peace and harmony. There are those that think otherwise, but they don't have our resolve, and thus they shall fail. The Mercy Killers. He smiles. The Mercy Killers stand for justice, which is different from the other ones. To them, justice is everything. It is absolute and perfect. They dedicate their lives to dispensing justice, but it must be done correctly, according to the law. They firmly believe that by imposing justice on the multiverse, it can be cleansed of evil and made perfect. Oh god, my machinations remained undetected for years. The world is imperfect. If only I could make it as beautiful as me. Alright. I hear your father died. Can you tell me what happened? He frowns at you. Well, yes, he disappeared some time ago, so I can only assume that he is dead. Where did you hear this? I don't recall. Like, you can't say ever. Just choose to admit it. Oh, yes. Many, many years ago. Blah, blah, blah. Try to remember. Yep. And you... Let's remembering that he was here as a kid. And then we attack him from behind. So we killed his father, seemingly. This is I was skimming through because I remember that we've already done that one. I'm really leery about repeating dialogue with old characters because I'm always worried that I'm just sitting here reading aloud for 10 minutes dialogue I've already read aloud before, but I don't remember because you can never, it's hard to tell because like stuff can have information I already know but still be new dialogue, and some of the stuff that I skip through thinking it's old then gives me experience. I'm like, oh god, that means it's new. It's hard to have 100% clear recall on exactly which dialogue is new and isn't new when you're trying to do a series and choosing what to read and so on. What can you tell me about the city of Sigil? Sigil. He lets out a long breath. Sigil is the city at the center of all things, or so many believe. It is the city of doors. There are literally thousands of portals here. It is home to the Lady of Pain herself. He shrugs. Sigil is a topic that can fill volumes, and volumes of volumes. Tell me about the Lady of Pain. The Lady of Pain. Hammer's leans in and drops his voice silently. One of the multiverse's greatest mysteries, everyone will agree. I think she's proved beyond a doubt's shadow that females are the most dangerous creatures in the multiverse. He sighs. Gender! Go on. Some say she's a goddess, a power that's made Sigil her home. Truth is, she breaks the laws of every power I've encountered. Powers need worshippers, gives them their power, but the lady doesn't like to be worshipped. People who do end up in her shadow, their flesh torn apart by invisible blades. Now I've seen some horrible things in my life, things that would make another man's knees go weak and make him lose control of his vitals. Doesn't even compare to seeing one of the lady's victims. Interesting. What else can you tell me? Next is, she doesn't take to people who try and play God in Sigil. See, you may not know this, but first off, no powers can enter Sigil. Not Zeus, not Ra, no one. Zeus and Ra exist. Okay. That's not expected at all. Word is that the lady's presence somehow keeps them out. Can't get in, not a one. And that twists their stems like you wouldn't believe. Sigil's such a sweet fruit that anyone would want to pluck. But the other powers were always looking for some way into Sigil. They haven't succeeded. Because if the map of the world is essentially the alignment chart, but as a world map, which seemingly is what the game is, and Sigil is the true neutral center, then it makes sense that she's against being worshipped, or anyone else being worshipped, because believing in somebody affects your alignment and then the alignment of the world around you. So if you worship a god here, then you yourself can shift the alignment of this place towards the alignment of that god, because they all have alignments. And so in order to have true neutrality to make this place what it is, she has to fight against all worship of any gods, and also the idea that she becomes a deity in her own right, because her own worship, and like she has to be what she is right now, this feared absence of a person. Like, everyone's kind of nervous about the Lady of Pain, and she rules this place, but nobody worships her or praises her exactly. They just kind of are aware she's there and are kind of just afraid of her. Because it's like the absence of worship on some level. Like, just even though many gods do like reign via fear, especially like real life, like gods, like I'm used to being exposed to a religion that encourages its rules and so on by making you fear them, and by promising a punishment if you don't behave correctly in your life and so on, and worship them specifically in that process. So she also rules in fear, but she does so via this refusal of any kind of deifying of thing. She's just a vague, dangerous lord, basically. I don't know. That's gesturing at meaning, at least. That's I made an attempt. I don't quite have the right phrasing to go with. Well, it goes beyond that. Not only does the lady keep them out, she keeps anybody inside the city from harming it. Certainly she has help from our faction, the Harmonium, since we like order, but every once in a while, a foolish basher takes it into their head to start fighting on the streets of the city, maybe decide to kill a few Dabus, brew up some chaos, or start casting mass destruction spells. Not a good thing, makes the lady upset, doesn't like to see her city hurt. She'll kill you, or maze you for doing such. Maze you? Maze you? You haven't heard of the mazes? He looks at you condescendingly. You are green. Lady's got extra-dimensional prisons she can place special offenders in. You see, she takes little bits of Sigil, shapes them into mazes, then cuts them off from Sigil. Like with the Alley of Lingering Sighs. How things just don't make sense here. You'll be walking home one night, or be stepping through an archway near your home, then suddenly everything changes. You won't be in the place you remember. You'll be trapped. Chant is there is one way to get out of the maze, but you'll be dead and gone before you tumble onto the dark of how to escape. We're totally going to be in a maze at some point, aren't we? That's the thing you wouldn't foreshadow and then never act on, I feel like. You mentioned portals. Do you know of any? He laughs. Portals? Do I know about portals? He pauses. Well, none personally, except some of the more common ones. I imagine they can be found in practically every ward. Portals are funny things. Sometimes they shift around. At other times, they simply seem to vanish. They're hard to keep track of. He shrugs. Okay, but where is a portal, please? Because I think you can get into the thing via a portal simply because they've introduced the idea that portals are everywhere, and then they tell me about the siege tower that has no apparent entrance, and I'm like, okay, that tells me you probably teleport in. But you can only... Every portal has its own separate rule set, so there's no trend. So you just have to learn about the rule set from somebody, basically. Like, I need someone to tell me. Will this guy tell me?
I'm gone.
What? What? I just accidentally moved that bench while I was just trying to click across the map to look for him. Did I know about this? That's a were-rat. Oh, god damn it. Didn't he tell me that I could go into his basement or something? I don't remember what he said. Damn it. Lothar told me to move aside the divan in the center of the room to reveal a passageway leading to the Oh, fuck. Once there, I am to pass into the catacombs and find a tomb beyond the drowned nations. In that tomb, there is a skull of great value, and I bring this to him. God damn it. That's my bad. It's just, listen guys, it's a struggle sometimes. If the quests don't actually say what to do, then it can very easily be like, oh yeah, I remember that quest. He said to find a skull somewhere. Guess I'll see when that comes up, and not be like, oh, he gave me incredibly specific instructions, but they're not listed in the quest log, and I don't remember that because it's a different day, and I don't know that I don't remember that because it doesn't give me any hint of any kind that I should know where the skull is already. Like it's very easy to then be like, oh, oh yeah, okay, that's just one of those quests where they're like, look out for a thing, and maybe you'll find it one day. Like, there's no in-game way of knowing besides just constantly checking exhaustively which quests you know what to do for and which ones you don't, because the quest log doesn't tell you what you know. It is searchable in the journal, but you have to have the thought to search for it in the journal, which is usually based on thinking that you are supposed to know about it but forgot what to do specifically. But my bad. This gives us something to pursue, at least. I'm just back here?
All right.
Oh! Yes, I got a skull.
Done.
What is thy Ignis wishes to burn?
Explode! I thought I was gonna do an explosion.
I will hear you.
The flames await.
I thought I read that was an AoE. Was that a single target spell? That was so old school hype. That was like a Dungeons and Dragons, the arcade game style, like paused animation. That was surprising. Remember that game? Well, these guys aren't that strong. They're mostly a threat because I had so many people back then. Is your AI turned on? Is everyone's AI turned on? They seem to not find targets after they kill somebody.
I'm gone.
The corpse jerks visibly, as if electric current ran through it, and a gassy sigh escapes its mouth. Greetings. It's best not to muck around with the dead. Brings back bad luck, so it does. Perhaps it will give us some answers. The corpse babbles with its liquefied tongue. Can't understand it. Forget this, then. What? What do you mean, forget this? I specifically have an ability that lets me talk to dead people. Why doesn't it give me the option to do that? Oh, hey. Let's see. I think I was going into a circular room full of bats and it would murder me every time I went there. But now I have enough people I can probably take it. If I can find it again.
All
Here
right.
it is. Hi, everybody. Okay.
Yes?
Endure. In enduring, grow strong.
How may I help? What do you wish, Ignis?
Oh my god, they're coming at us in waves. Roll reasonably strong though.
Thy bidding.
Yeah, they will not auto attack. I don't know what AI being turned on does then most of the time. In the priest case, she heals people. But it seems like they'll only attack if they get attacked. I have to keep an eye on everybody and pause a lot,
I'm gone.
just in case. Okay, we've survived this fight. Now I can explore this room. 500 copper! These supports used to hold a sarcophagus. They apparently used to have something in them. They don't anymore. This furniture is evidence that someone used to make this crypt their home. Skull. These bones look like they've been gnawed extensively. They're scattered randomly. Holes have been knocked in the wall here. An aromatic slime coats the other edges of the jagged holes. Are these good blades? 1 to 4 plus 1 plus 2 plus 2. 2 to 8 plus 2. 1 piercing damage, 2 armor class, 2. That's a lot of armor class. AC minus 4. Okay, so she does 1 to 4 plus 1 plus 2, so she does 4 to 7 damage. And this does 4 to 10 damage. 5 to 11 damage. There's another plus 1 here. Plus 1 luck, Thaco plus 1, Thaco plus 2. So I think we're losing 1 Thaco to gain 1 luck and 2 armor class. which is still pretty good. I think this might be an upgrade for her, so that's a good find. If nothing else, being really hard to hit is very helpful, because I need frontliners that don't just fucking die. Nobody specializes in surviving hits. Especially since I built a wisdom... I have a wisdom, dexterity, charisma character that I'm having play as a melee fighter. It's the things I do to myself. This place is a little exhausting to try to completionistly explore. But I am kind of hoping that if I'm careful, I can find, any of the things I need for quests. Like, can I find an, hello. Oh yeah, this is a thing we haven't figured out either yet, have we? I'd also like to find, like, something to hold the river Styx water in. Crypt of the Embraced.
I'm gone.
I think I couldn't do anything at the time. Ow! Nope, it's that they were too dangerous, weren't they?
Yes, my master.
I'm here.
Protection from evil? I think undead usually counts as evil.
I hear your words.
Ready.
Done.
Okay, so this is good. These are some of the loose ends that we never covered because at the time it was just me and Morte. First, I got teleported away and interrupted midway through the exploration of this place and just lost track of what I was doing because I got kidnapped. But then, even on the way back, I still only had Morte, so I just could not survive almost any especially bad ambushes. Grease. I think I learned that you pronounce it that from the game Grease that everyone like corrected me on. I think I was corrected preemptively about that one, but still. This is the corpse of a man with a surprising look on his beak. A surprised look on his beak-nosed face. It's hard to tell how he died. Whether from the numerous horrific slashing wounds across his abdomen and throat, or from blood loss incurred when his right arm was nearly severed from his shoulder. As the corpse replies to you, its voice rattles in its throat. No. No, beast. Must run. Why do they feel so numb? Am I drunk? Can't feel me hands. And me legs? What? The last thing I remember is being pushed in here. The boy is being slashed by some big piking thing. Who are you? Who in the nine hells are you? Show yourself. Ah, by the hairy ass of Pan himself. I'm dead, ain't I? I'm afraid so. Could you answer me some questions? Always knew it'd come down to this. Tell me, Cutter, am I still in the catacombs? Yes. The corpse's voice is bitter. Figures, aye. It does. Do them a good turn, and they'll do nothing for you. Right, I just wanted to ask some questions. The corpse lets loose a gusty sigh. What did you want to know, Burke? What happened to you, anyway? We and my boys had just popped this crypt, and it was harder than picking a chastity belt, I'm telling you. After tearing and prying at the door for a little past eternity, got in here. We're looking at opening the main crypt when me blood started shouting, and this thing slashes me and dumps me into the crypt. I'm fighting it. I hear them start running, me bloods. What happened to them, eh? Where be Bert? Loden? They make it? Or are they in the dead book? I don't know. Well... And let's hope they didn't, filthy running pikers. What can you tell me about the catacombs? These are me stomping grounds. Lots of ripe crypts down here. They're untouched by anyone in over a... He pauses. Well, a lot of years by my reckoning. Me and the boys have cracked a lot of crypts down here. We just got into this one when the problem happened. What happened? That just branches back to their conversation. What crypts can you tell me about? There's one to the left of the center. Blah, blah, blah. There's one to the left of the entrance with a bunch of the Vargi ghoul heads flying about. Don't want to be messing there without a lot of torches and some crossbows. There's a crypt of pretty tiles to the right of the entrance and down a ways. Then there's one I was exploring before the unfortunate circumstance. I figured that the crypt with the pretty tiles has got to be some secret about it. It smells different, and there's a secret chamber somewhere about, but I can't figure a way into it. Where is it? Down to the drowned nations a ways. Don't remember where exactly. I think they're talking about mine. They gotta try to hint you towards that place. That place completely blindsided me, because I missed all of the hooks that would point you towards it. Tell me about yourself. Grease. Grease the Vulture. They called me that on account of being able to smell out crypts and snatch out the best loot before anyone else knew it was there. Spent most of my time picking at dead bodies. Is that, or is it because you have a beak nose? I think everyone had a meaner reason for his name and he didn't know. Anna nudges the corpse with her toe and turns to you. You know why they call him Grease the Vulture, don't you? It was because the idiot got some large beak on him. His nose was walking a few feet ahead of him. Ah, so it is canon. Grease, eh? I'll let the other villagers know he's dead. Well, friggin' dead it looks like. Give him my worst regards, then. The bladders are probably already picking through me stash and scrounging my corpse. Your stash? Aye. I had a little bit tucked away near me kip. A little bit that wheezing, crusty blighter Farah didn't know nothing about. It's to the right of that... Ah, okay. It's to the right of Ojo's place, if I remember correctly. Different time, huh? Doop doop. I remember when that was an incredibly common thing to say, and now it's like shocking whenever it happens. And people who are just a little younger than me will be like, what the fuck? People just said that all the time? At least some of them will. Other ones will be edgy about it or whatever. AKA exhausting. I remember thinking at the time, because I was in school, I'm like, there's no... It's like, no way, old man. Because our English teacher gave like a heartfelt little speech about why it's hurtful because of their own child. And I'm like, I get that, and that sucks. But also, I don't see you realistically being able to change people's minds. Not like out of spite, like, you'll never make me speak differently or anything like that, but just like, just so much, it was being said so much that I didn't see it being realistic that...
That item is important to me. I cannot part with that.
I don't want to remove it, I want to move it. But okay. You get to carry all my trash right now. Wow, you don't need to spend extra dialogue just describing how ugly the rat men are. That's not nice. Why would you have to say that? It's unnecessary. I'm sure they're perfectly nice rat men. Also, why are rats always the really ugly... They're always supposed to be ugly in universe. I'm like, rats are cute, though. How did you land on the idea that rats were ugly? Doop-doop. But basically the gist of it was that, like, I didn't think he was gonna realistically ever, like, turn the tide of just, like, what people say all the time. And I was wrong, because people definitely just shifted over the course of the next, like, 5 years, and it just kind of completely fell out of fashion to say that at all. Which is for the best. I was just surprised it happened. Wow, we're just finding... Wow, I really underestimated how much more there was to do here. Mainly because I think I finished this place almost. I think I found the face in the wall or whatever, and was like, well, that's interesting. We should check that out next time. And then, I stopped for like that week, I want to say, and came back like a week later and was like, oh yeah, talk to this face in the wall and then get out of here. There's so much more to do here still, but there were like a variety of encounters that I couldn't necessarily survive at the time. Have you retrieved the particular skull the master wants? I have a skull. Is that the one the master requested from you? No. Mantuak's lip curls. Then by all means present it to the master. He will be most pleased to see you have returned. Thanks, Mantuak. By all means present it to the master when it's not the right skull. That tells me his lip curls. I'm taking that as like a smile. In that he's like excited to watch me die because I don't have a good skull. I said no, and he still was like, go ahead, haha. You have 2 werettes and 3 regulars. I definitely need some kind of cool skull. So apparently this is where he is. The Warrens of Thought. This door is locked. Is that the... That's the drowned nation. Okay, so this is the other entrance into this place that we otherwise knew about. Are the werettes here non-violent? You just take a drink and then break it? I've got more skulls. I'm saving before every door I open because I don't want to discover the master and then be murdered for not having the skull or something. I do wonder what I'll find. I already taught you ball lightning, so you should learn ball lightning. This is where the cranium rats also are, which we know get smarter in groups. Ah! Accidentally shift tabbing. I'm wondering if we'll meet any were-rat characters. The were-rat hisses at you. Human, die! It leads to the attack. Flee. So flee avoids the fight. This place is big. I guess if you're not friendly with him, from like you find this place in the wrong timing or something,
I'm here.
then you get attacked.
Right. Got it.
Or maybe he betrays me on the way out, and then I have to fight my way back out or something. Well, weapons abound. Let the flaming guy have all the skulls. That's fun.
I cannot part with that.
I kind of wish that if you looted items that don't fit in your inventory, they would just go in somebody else's inventory, like from left to right. Save me a little time. Anything vaguely worthy should be good. So I just want to make money. So I can spend them at the curiosity shop and then unlock little, like, mini side quest curiosity storyline things. And some of them are just the solutions to problems. Kind of curious being able to just run around and nab everything without anyone stopping me or reacting. The Cranium Rat Collective. Well, that sounds neat. Gonna keep poking around for the moment. One map at a time, please. But I want to meet the Cranium Rats. What if they're cool? What if they're like, their brain HQ is like neat? Ah, goddammit. I'm really bad at alternating rapidly between shift and tab without ever holding them at the same time. Small bottle! Invokes Black Sphere. This small battle containing a dark liquid. The dark liquid contained seems to be thicker and blacker than ordinary liquid. The blackness of the liquid is so dark that it seems to be absorbed in the light. No! Damn it, I just wanted a small bottle. I'm more excited about bottle than Merc. You Burk. You're just too far away. Oh. I'm like, this guy's the weapons guy, right? I'll give him all the weapons. And this guy looks like a skull. I'll give him all the skulls. Logic. You need a ring? Doesn't do anything. It's just a ring. Have a gold. You have all the bones, though. Have more stuff with your bones. More weapons for the weapon guy. Nope. He no longer can function as the weapon guy. He has too many weapons. Shamanic Rod, Black Magic Missile. Oh, that was originally a... I think that was originally a... You can have the special items that invoke stats. I think it just said Claw originally, and I guess it was identified.
Done.
I think I dropped a thought at some point that I just lost my thought process about a thing I was saying. But obviously you hit me with an anthro race of people in your RPG, and I'm like, I want to meet them. Not, oh wow, what horrible monsters. Oh, we better defeat them all. Like, that's not what I'm thinking at all. Like, what if the were-rats are cool, though? Did you consider that game? I feel like you didn't consider that. You should have considered that. Just kind of skipped this at the beginning. I kind of thought that this one isolated door might be where the dude was. Like the boss. But yeah, oh, how do you get in here? There's a door. Talking about this, like, it's fitting to bring up, like, the, Like the himbofication of gnolls. Gnolls are usually in lore like these cartoonishly evil cannibal monster people that are just the worst thing with no redeemable features, and they're just like a nightmare faction. And but people like gnolls, so instead you have big himbo hyena protagonist character, and they go from like chaotic evil NPC race to like huggable idiot PC race. My skull guy has too many skulls. Getting heavy from all this junk. I need to split the junk into stacks and then get rid of it. Indent some of these stacks. That's so many bandages. She has a fair number of the consumables. Let's drop this leg bone. And also all of these skulls. Kind of been reflexively picking up everything. But we officially have too many of this shit now. But this stuff can usually be sold at least. Even if it's for trash. Trash amounts of money. Little money is still money. Yeah, that's just one big pile of bones. I'll just try to ignore here on out. Alright. Next episode, cranium rats. And I'm glad I'm finding places to at least run around in. It was weird not being attacked, but we'll get back on track with the skull at least. Poor Morte has just been left behind for so long.